Okay, this is my YouTube video about my anterior cervical disc fusion. As you can see, here's the scar. Here is the results of what's called a hematoma, which is because some blood pooled up in there after the surgery, kind of turned into a little nodule, which will eventually absorb. For now, it looks like a little bump. It is getting smaller and it covers up the scar a little bit. You can see the effects of the actual scarring and some of the remaining bruising. From an aesthetic standpoint, it's not a big deal and it'll go away. The issue on this, I guess, is how painful is it? What's the recovery like? I would have to say, first of all, I watched a lot of videos on YouTube before I had the surgery, talking about what the results were and how people reacted to them. Most people right after the surgery complained of some pain. Some complained, I thought, more than they should have. I thought they were a little bit over emotional. But I have to be honest that when I did come out of the surgery, it hurt. It was more painful than I expected it to be. I wasn't whiny, but I was gritting my teeth a lot. That lasted for about 2 days. Most of the pain was here, mainly in this trapezoid area over here, a little bit immediately in the center in the back, not much on this side. And before the surgery, I didn't have any real nerve involvement on my hand. A little bit along this part of my hand, a little bit along this finger, and occasional twinges on the arm. Most of my problem was down low in the legs. My legs twitched a lot. My knees were weak. And the herniation was at the C6-7. So it was hitting the spinal cord itself. They had to get that out because of what's called cervical myelopathy. They did that. It was a pretty easy procedure. I was out. I was out for an hour and a half. Bang, I woke up. I went home that day. Some pain. A couple days later, I developed this weird little thing, and we had to go back to the emergency room because they had to watch it and make sure it didn't make me have a stroke. But it didn't. So now I'm like about 12 days past the surgery, and it's basically just kind of slowly improving. Here's what I do notice besides the little bit of pain, which is not horrible, but it does come and go. At times of the day, it's worse. I have what's called some dysphagia, which is when they move the esophagus and trachea around when they make the first cut, they kind of create a little crimp in there. I have what Chicagoans would know as like the S-curve on Lakeshore Drive. There's a little and it sometimes food gets stuck in there for a little bit, especially if it's a donut or bread or something doughy. I have to take little bites. I can eat a lot of ice cream. I can eat eggs. I can eat pudding. Those don't seem to cause any problem. Cookies, anything that's kind of fibrous is kind of difficult right now. Same with meat. But beyond that, it's supposed to resolve, and it seems to be slowly resolving. I do notice that my voice is substantially weaker right now. It takes a lot of effort to continue to talk. My voice is softer than it was and a little bit raspy. Not horrible, but it's raspy. An odd byproduct is I can't sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket, and that's never been the case in my life. So if that's the case, well, okay, guys, the world is one less singer. As far as recovery goes, it's just a process. And I think it's a worthwhile one for me. I do find that most of my pain, the little pain I had in my arm is pretty much gone. The pain I had in my fingers is definitely gone. Oddly enough, I find when I'm playing the piano, these fingers are much more active than they used to be. So I guess I opened up something there. The pathway between the herniation up here where it's hitting the spinal cord and my lower legs is now wide open, probably for the first time that it has been since about 2012. And because of that, the legs are getting signals that they never got before or haven't gotten in a long time. And they don't know what to do with them. So my legs tend to shoot around and jiggle and stuff every once in a while for no apparent purpose. I do notice my right leg is a little bit weaker, probably just because it can't process the motor signals. But beyond that, that's about it. Aesthetically, like I said, this will go away. It doesn't bother me. You know, I have this Irish chin that's been there since Columbus got off the boat, and it's going to be there long after they close the lid on my box. So I don't worry about that. But that's kind of it. So if you're interested, give it a watch. I don't think this is the worst surgery in the world. It didn't hurt that badly. I did have a triple lumbar fusion a year before this, and it was 1,000 times worse. Basically, because your head weighs about 10 pounds and your torso weighs about 130. So it's a hell of a lot harder to move that torso around these fused vertebrae than it is to move your head. But that's it. So tune in. Good luck, everybody.